Hello, this is Cameron Swords' self-reflective analysis video for the composition and industry dubbing assignment. Now, this assignment, basically we had to compose, synchronize, and dub for a BBC TV broadcast, a Dolby 5.1 cinema, and a Flash video. Now, this was to be delivered to a BBC technical delivery standard. The chosen piece of software for this was Logic Pro, and this was to synchronize dialogue, effects, and music stems to complement the genre of the specific piece of work. The inspiration behind this were synth-based movie soundtracks, such as Blade Runner, which was composed by a guy called Vangelis. We sifted through many soundtracks for this piece of work to get any inspiration, but the one that stood out and was my favorite was the Social Network soundtrack. This was composed by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And basically, this added a eerie, a character to the film, which without the actual soundtrack, it wouldn't actually have the same feel to this film at all, I think personally. And the darkness was also utilized by the use of synthesized sounds. Now, this is very noticeable in our piece and is a big influence in our group's composition. Now, the composition. Now, this opened up with a held synth chord at the very start when the lift door opens up. This is basically to commemorate the start of the piece and the effect that you hear when the lift door opens. Now, this was used via the website called freesound.org, as the effects later on in the piece that you shall see were all used from the specific website. Now, the music heard in the bedroom scene. This was a group member's band recording, and now initially we were going to use a recording of a silly band, basically something cheesy, some music that would give a sense of humor. As you can tell, there's a slight bit of sense of humor with an effect where she squeezes her nose. But basically, we use instead our group members' composition to basically show our talent and our skills and our influence on the music for this piece of work. Now, the outdoor effects, they were meant to be in the background to add a sense of atmosphere. This is when she comes out the block of flats and she walks down the footpath. Now, basically, when we started putting in the sample, it was too loud. As you can hear, there are a sense of cars in the background, but it was too loud. It sounded like she was right next to the road, which she actually isn't in the scene, as you will see. Basically, this added a sense of atmosphere to the piece. A minor scale was used to add an eerie feel to the video. Now, this was used several times, as you will see. There are synth chords. There's one synth chord that goes up and down the scale. This signifies a change in scene from the outdoor to indoor, and that's when she's basically blowing up the balloons and creating those shapes. The party scene this week, basically, we wanted to do something different for the party scene because we wanted to create a beat, and the beat is actually synced up to the actual video, and we thought this was quite clever, as I hope you will also think. But yeah, basically, there's things the actions on the screen, basically to what I think personally to basically look more professional. Now to end the video, basically we use the same descending minor scale we used for the tunnel scene as we did for the end. This was basically to link the two together and to conclude our video. Now for the actual 5.1. Now this was a mix that was needed for the 7-minute video. Now, basically explain this. This is the common name for a 6-channel surround sound multi-channel audio system. Now this is used for commercial cinemas and home theaters. This uses also 5 full bandwidth channels and 1 low frequency effects channel, giving it the 0.1 name. The 5.1 is the standard surround sound audio component of digital broadcast and music within media. The 5.1 systems use the same speaker channels and configuration, which have a front, left and right speaker, a center channel, 2 surround sound channels, and a subwoofer. In the video, a SMPTE code was used to successfully synchronize the audio with the movie by labeling individual frames. Now, the SMPTE stands for Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers. The SMPTE is basically set to start the movie 10 hours prior to the time code of the video starting. Now in the video, the audio target for the loudness was meant to be set to a minus 23 LUFS. Now we apply this via the use of Logic Pro, and the LUFS stands for loudness unit relative to full scale. Now this was achieved at the end of the day, and the Dolby Digital specifications were applied to the audio as well. Now this was such use of an audio file downloaded via the web of a blitz tone for each group of surround sound tracks. Now this was the tone that you hear before the actual video starts. Carrying on, basically we had guidance parameters for the movies, and then these had to be met, and these were as follows. The dialogue level had to be at minus 23 dB. The line mode compression had to be at film standard. The RF mode compression had to be at film standard. The center down mix level had to be at minus 3 dB. The surround down mix level had to be at minus 3 dB also. The Dolby surround mode had to be enabled, and also the surround phase shift had to be also enabled. Now the sound field pattern was as follows. Now this was basically how the speakers were meant to be configured within the studio that we were working on this piece in. These were the left and right front speakers angled at a 20 to 30 degree angle inwards into the center point of the room. These were the speakers behind the mixing desk but facing the mixer, or our group as it was in this case. The two remaining back speakers were the left and the right at the back of the room. Now these were positioned at 135 to 150 degree angle either side of the central point of the room. Now this was to basically give an equal measurement of sound all around the person intended, such as ourselves, and we thought that basically this gave a professional sounding quality to our piece. Now a member of the group was assigned to calibrate the room to 5-point configuration. Now the mix basically we had to export 6 channels in our Logic project into an AC3 format. Now to explain this in detail, basically this means all the Logic Pro stems were to be bounced as a separate WAV file, so they could successfully be imported to create a surround sound mix. Now we utilized the use of the inbuilt Apple's compressor program, basically to import the stems. Now this combined 6 channels into AC3 format to make it compatible for surround sound DVD players. Now the use of software called Handbrake. Now this is a open source video transcoder which was used to basically convert AC3 format into 5.1. Now the specifications for this were as follows. The track was in English, and in brackets was AC3. The codec was AAC, and in brackets was Core Audio. The mix down was 5.1 channels. The sample rate was auto. The bit rate was 160, and to conclude, it was MP4 format. Then all of this was burnt to CD. It wasn't as slick as it sounds. Basically, we had problems getting into 5.1 because we configured it all, but for some odd reason, it wasn't going to 5.1 format. But we slaved away in the studio for quite a long time, and finally, as you will see in our DVD, the end result was achieved. Thank you for listening to my video. I hope this helped with the analysis of my group's composition and introduced to dubbing. It's been Cameron Swords. Thank you very much.